Hello and welcome to Sass Bites. This is your weekly bite of Sass during your lunch break. I'm Micah Godbolt. You can follow us down there at Micah Godbolt at Sass Bites, the usuals. Catch our previous episodes, youtube.com/SassBites. I spent a week away. Sorry, a couple of busy weeks, a few weeks. So I'd had this actually built up and ready for last week. But we're going to dive into this topic today. What we're going to be talking about, a couple weeks ago, I introed Libsass, and specifically Grunt Libsass, and how you can get a project set up using the much faster, not quite as capable yet Libsass, which is based on basically it's the old Sass, the Ruby version of Sass rewritten in C, so that it can be run pretty much everywhere, whether it's in something like Node or in Python or Ruby, or really doesn't matter. But so what we're going to talk about today is one of the things when you move over to Libsass that you lose are some of the Ruby ecosystem, some of the things that have been built, Ruby gems that have been built to be able to be tacked onto Sass. One of those that I dearly miss because I loved it so much is the idea of Sass globbing. The idea of globbing is if you've ever been on a large project where you have lots and lots and lots of little partials. I've been on projects where 200 partials, like a bunch of tiny little files that all get compiled together to, this big master file. That's a lot of maintenance to have to add individual import statements for every single one of them. And if you rename one, you've got to change your import statement. If you delete it, you got to change the import statement. If you move folders, God, if you try and refactor some folder structures, it's a nightmare because this takes so much time to basically recreate this import structure, all these import statements. When it really, the way we build stuff, it typically the import order really doesn't matter that much. It just needs to all get in. So Sass globbing allows you basically to say, take that folder, give me all of it. And Sass globbing will go through and grab everything inside of it and pull that into your project. So you don't have to specifically state each one of them. So the point is, long-windedly, is that Libsass doesn't have that because it's not built in Ruby, so you can't use that Ruby gem. So fortunately, it didn't take too long for someone else to get really annoyed by that and come up with a solution for it. So that's what I'm going to do today is talk about that solution, and it comes in the way of a Grunt plugin. Now, kind of be more specific, this is going to be a solution if you are running Grunt Sass. I'm sure you can do something very similar or modify this to work in Gulp or whatever other build system you're using. But this is specifically written for Grunt, as you can see by the name of it. It is an NPM module, so you install it with Node. It's built by this guy, Dennis Becker. He's apparently cool. I had a merge request and he pulled it in just last week. So he's active and he's building on it, and it's getting some stars. It works well is the point. So what Sass globbing is going to allow you to do is this module is going to, it works slightly differently. I'm going to actually just going to walk through showing how that works. So you can get the information here about installing it and those kind of things. So I have done that. If you look at my package.json, I've got Sass globbing pulled in right here. And just a double check. I just realized with that merge request or the pull request, it's probably updated. It's 1.3. So let me get 1.3 in here. Let's do a save and an npm. I actually did. I did the edit. Here, let me do this one more time. This is me not being 100% prepared. I made the merge request locally and was pulling it in locally. So I'm going to do an install. So I'm actually pulling his from the site. Hopefully it works right. Yay for testing. So I'm going to walk through how we can use Sass globbing to take what's normally it takes a lot of work to create all these import statements and make it a lot simpler. So this is our file structure. You don't really need to read exactly what it is. We've got 4 different folders. Each folder has a couple different files inside of it. Components folder even has more folders inside of it with more files inside of that. So I have this big nested structure that we want to be able to pull all of those in at one time. So instead of going to our main.scss and importing every single file and having an import statement for every file in our entire system, we want to do something like this, where we just want to pull in the global folder. We just want to pull in the base folder, the components folder, or the layout folder. And anything that's in that folder, pull it into our project. And that's what Sass globbing is going to allow us to do. It does it slightly different than Ruby, but I'll show you how that works once we get the setup done. So let's go to our grunt file and let's look at what Sass globbing setup's all about. Make this a little bigger. You have to be a little more intentional because what grunt Sass globbing is going to do, it's actually going to build files for us. And you can see that these are the files right here. So this is the file that we're going to build. And these are the files that we're going to build into it. We're going to build import statements in this. I've got this double underscore components file, and we're going to do all of the components files are going to go into that. So our Sass directory, our components directory, and then all the directories and all the Sass files inside of that are all going to get imported into the components file. Same thing with base, global, and layout. So we do have to actually have these files be created for us, but it works actually quite well, and it gives us the exact same kind of feature. So now that's installed, I'm going to run grunt and see if anything blows up on me. Yay, it worked. So what actually gets done is it's two things. Sass gets compiled, so we do have an output here that's outputting some stuff. Cool, yay. So my main and sidebars, my layouts, those kind of things. I've got a component here, and I've got some base styles, and I've got some layout files. So all those are getting pulled in, so we know it's working. And so the way it's working is what Sass globbing does is it actually goes through and creates all these files for us. So here, our first one. So we've got an HTML and a body.scss. And what happens is Sass globbing actually creates this file for us right here on the fly. So you can see this has been generated with grunt Sass globbing. And what it does, it imports these two files that are right next to it. Now, what happens if you have nested? Okay, well, on the components, it goes down and it finds the CTA and the quote and gives you the entire path down to it. So Sass globbing is actually building these files out for us. And what it's doing, it's going to do it every single time it compiles. So we can rename this, to CTA new. Now when I run this again, we don't have to worry about, something broke because we renamed the file or something like that. Because Sass globbing automatically builds a new components.scss that has the new file name on there. So you can commit these to code. I think the suggestion in there said go ahead and commit these files in so that maybe you don't need. Honestly, I'm kind of either way because they're going to get generated. I would probably run Sass globbing every single time I ran Sass anyway. But you might have it as a separate thing where you just run Sass globbing to basically build all your stuff and then commit those. Totally up to you. I mean, it's basically you need to have these files in there for Sass to compile properly. But if you're compiling Sass with grunt anyway, these are always going to be built. So your mileage may vary. I'd probably actually ignore them, but whatever, works the same way. So again, all this is doing is you're given a target. You're saying the components. And you say what files you want to go into that. And so what I do have to do is I need to manually then say these are the files I want to import and I'm good to go. So there's a little bit of setup that you do on it, but it allows you to easily build these little files or the Sass globbing will build these files for you. What you can also do, you don't necessarily have to do just this folder structure here because like in global, you probably want to bring this in a specific order. So say you want variables probably need to come before extends. Because your extends need to use those variables. You have a couple options there. You can always prefix the names of these, to put I'm sure, I think they come in alphabetically. So you can always do one variables, rename for 2, run that again. Hey, look at that. So you can do something like that to order them properly if you need to do that. Oftentimes you'll have like a folder of extends. So you might have O1 underscore extends folder. So you're not having to even worry about the names of the files. So there's a couple things you can do to kind of make the order work the way you want. Or you can just be a little bit more explicit down here in grunt file and having a folder or diving down into not just the global folder, but the global / extends and making all of those into a single extends. Oops. And then you can just explicitly import those the way you want to. So few different ways you can skin that cat, but the point is this gives you the tool to automatically generate import files for you, so you don't have to worry about like, let's get this back to where it was so I don't break things. So that you don't have to worry if you come in here and you create a new file, and I've got body, whatever, new stuff, Sass, and I want my TV tags to be color of pink. Here, I just did it. I can hit grunt. And now my main CSS, you can see that came right on in. I didn't have to go and create a new import statement. I didn't have to go and update some file somewhere. I can just add files in, and they're going to get imported automatically by Sass Globbing. So that's it. One of the big frustrations of Libsass has been conquered by a little node module that is open for pull requests. So if there's more features you want in here, I'd love to see some features that allow you to like maybe control the source order of how things get pulled in here, like pass some rules in or something. So if there's other thoughts that you want to see happen here, you can do those pull requests as well, because I know he's taking them. Oh, and if you're curious about the pull request, there's actually one piece of logic I had to push in so that I could have this file in the folder that was being globbed. So this global is pulling in everything inside the global folder. Before, it would also pull in itself. So it'd say, hey, there's a global file in here. I will pull myself in, which is obviously recursive and probably will blow things up. So I added a small test in there that would to check to see if this is the same file that's doing the importing, and then just obviously not print that into there. So updated the node module, pushed up a pull request, and he pulled it in, and now it's there. So you can too contribute to these open source projects. So this is Sass Globbing. I've rambled for 15 minutes. I hope it's helpful for you. Go play with it. Put in some pull requests and some issues if you have thoughts about that. And good luck, Sass Globbing, and enjoy Libsass. We'll probably try and continue on with these Libsass ones, because I'm personally curious about how far we can push Libsass and how we can overcome some of the things that we find are missing. And I certainly have a good idea of some of the upcoming ones that should be pretty special. So keep an eye out, and we'll keep at it. So thanks for stopping by. We'll catch you next week.